Hey everyone, sorry I'm getting this video out a little later than I initially wanted to. It's already mid-January, and this is a list of 20 movies from my collection from the 2000 to 2010, that are not available on streaming anywhere. Yes, they are available on digital, you can buy them, but they're not available if you want to watch them for free. They're not on Netflix, HBO Max, Peacock, anywhere like that. And most of these are movies you've probably never heard of anyway, but there's one or two in here that are like, wow, that's crazy that's not anywhere on streaming right now. So let's get into this first movie, which really surprised me isn't anywhere because it's part of a massive franchise. But Resident Evil Apocalypse, the second movie in the Resident Evil franchise. I forget how many there are. Is there six? Seven, maybe? I don't know. I don't really go past one and two. After two, I'm just done. Two is my favorite one out of the group. But this one surprised me the most because Resident Evil is a massive franchise. So, you watch the first one and you're like, oh, I want to continue watching to see what happens next. Well, the second one's not available. You got to buy it or rent it. And then the third one may be streaming, the fourth one. But what if the fifth one's not? It's kind of weird that franchises get like spread out like that. So this is the one that probably surprised me the most. This next one is my favorite Spike Lee movie, 25th Hour. This movie is absolutely amazing. Who's it from? It's from Touchstone. So it could be on Hulu, maybe because Disney owns Touchstone. But Edward Norton, Billy Pepper, Rosario Dawson, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Anna Paquin. This is an amazing movie from, is it 2001? 2002. This is the early 2000s. I forget because I know the behind the scenes of this is I think they shot it before 9/11, and then 9/11 happened and they had to change some things, so they added part of 9/11 into the story. Like, it's a backdrop, it's more of like the city, and it's really amazing what Spike Lee did with this, especially the monologue in the bathroom with Edward Norton. It's absolutely amazing. This one I think will come to streaming next month somewhere. Next month is February, Valentine's Day. He's just not into you. This is a charming romantic comedy with an all-star cast. Ben Affleck, Jennifer Aniston, Drew Barrymore, Jennifer Connelly, Kevin Connolly, Bradley Cooper, Scarlett Johansson, Justin Long. And it's got a little heart thing right here. This is a Valentine's Day movie, essentially. So I think this will be on streaming in February, hopefully. If not, you gotta buy it. It's Warner Brothers, so it'll probably be on Max. I think this will be, but as of January, it's not. This next one, I know a lot of people have probably never heard of. I remember seeing this when I was in high school. Cry Wolf. Fun slasher movie, takes place at a prep school in, I think, Connecticut or like up north somewhere. I remember having a huge crush on this little redhead chick when I was in high school. I think I've only seen her in like one or two movies, but pretty good slasher movie. I feel like it's a little underrated when it comes to this time period. It gets lost in the slew of every other slasher movie that's better and more popular, but I think it's pretty good and still kind of holds up to this day. Another romantic comedy I know will come out in February probably. The Breakup. This one surprised me too, because I would think Vince Vaughn, Jennifer Aniston, Johnny Favreau is in this movie. I would think that this would be like regularly on like Netflix or who is this? Universal, Peacock, but because Valentine's Day is coming up, it probably will be really charming romantic comedy that's kind of a twist on it. It's a breakup movie, obviously by the title, but it's really fun. Vince Vaughn is so funny in this. This is not my favorite Brian De Palma movie. When is this from? This is from 2006. The Black Dahlia. Like I said, not my favorite De Palma movie, but it's got an amazing cast, and the real life story of this is really crazy. This is based on a real story of a woman that they found. Is this 1930s? 40s, like that kind of time period, where they basically found an actress cut in half, just laying in a field, and it's trying to find the killer. It's very much like a Jack Ripper kind of story, where in real life they never really find the killer. They do a twist on it in this movie to give it a conclusion, but Aaron Eckhart, what's his name? Josh Hartnett. Josh Hartnett got first billing in this. That's how old this movie is. When he was a big star. Scarlett Johansson, Hilary Swank. If you're into like old Hollywood and murder mysteries, I would definitely suggest checking this out. Like rent this one. From 2005, David Cronenberg's A History of Violence. David Cronenberg is really more known and more popular for his body horror movies, The Fly, Scanner. I think he did Scanners. This is really more of a character development movie. How do I describe it? It's very violent. It is very violent. But Viggo Mortensen, I almost said Hugo. Viggo Mortensen is really good in this. Edward Harris plays a great bad guy, but the standout for me is William Hurt. He just comes in at the very end as kind of like the big boss of the movie. Guy who used to work for the mob in like New York or Boston. I think Boston. I don't know. Maybe Jersey. I don't know. He used to work for this family. He kind of escapes the life, starts a new family out in the middle of middle America, small town. Well, they find him and they want him back, and he has no memory. It's one of those where he loses his memory kind of thing until something happens and he remembers, and you realize he never really forgot, and then he just buried it really deep in his subconscious. Really interesting character movie. I highly recommend. Hitch probably will be out on Valentine's Day. I didn't even realize I had this many romantic comedies in here in January that will probably be out next month. But if they're not out next month, I will give an update when I do my February video to double check. This one's from Columbia Pictures, so Sony owns it. And they have a deal with Netflix. So maybe it'll be on Netflix. Will Smith, Kevin James. This is one of my favorite Kevin James movies. I relate to this movie so much from his point of view. Will Smith is great in this. Eva Mendes is beautiful in this. It's got a bunch of people you'd recognize. Michael Rappaport has like a very small role as Will Smith's brother-in-law, which is interesting. But another romantic comedy takes place in New York. New York is one of the places that I love seeing in movies because you can see New York super dirty or you can see New York look super beautiful. And this is definitely one of the beautiful ones. I'm not from New York, so I appreciate the beautiful scenery. Oh, this next one is literally my childhood. Out Cold. I honestly maybe know 2 people that have seen this movie. Maybe. And they're friends of mine that I grew up with, skateboarding, snowboarding, wakeboarding. Like, this is such a great movie from the time period. This is early Zaf Galifianakis. Like, super funny. It's not a raunchy comedy like it could be. It's very much in the same vein as the late 80s, 90s movies like Ski Patrol, Ski School, those kind of movies where it's like these crazy kids on a mountain. There's like a ski competition. There's not really a competition, but these locals, their mountain gets bought out by the big corporation and they're trying to save their mountain. It's super funny, super feel good. What is the description? Animal House on Ice. Great description of it. I highly recommend it. From 2001. I don't think this is streamed anywhere. I've honestly never seen this streamed anywhere, which is baffling to me. Like, not on Netflix, not on anywhere. Maybe it has at one point and I missed it, but this is definitely one. If you want it, you got to buy it in some form or fashion. Once Upon a Time in Mexico. This is the 3rd movie in Robert Rodriguez's trilogy. I don't know the name of his trilogy, but this is the sequel to Desperado. So there's El Mariachi, Desperado, and Once Upon a Time in Mexico. And this was 2003. So this was right around Pirates of the Caribbean 1. So Johnny Depp was at like the height of Johnny Depp at this point. And he's really good in this. Salma Hayek's got a much smaller role in this than she does in Desperado, but her scenes look amazing. And there's flashbacks to Desperado, which are really, really good. the cast gets even bigger too. You got William Dafoe, Eva Mendes, Mickey Rourke is in this. Enrique Iglesias is an actor in this, and he's got a really cool like guitar case scene, which is really good. This is back when Robert Rodriguez used to this was prime Robert Rodriguez right here. I wouldn't say it's on the level of Desperado or Dusk Till Dawn, but it's definitely up there for sure. Honestly, I consider this next one a Christmas movie. I know probably a lot of people don't, but Just Friends. I want to say, I keep wanting to call him Van Wilder. Ryan Reynolds. It's funny, I just call him Van Wilder, and his Instagram name is, I think, Van City Ryan, because he's from Vancouver. So I if I call him Van Wilder, not my fault. This movie is so funny. It's got Amy Smart, Ryan Reynolds, Anna Faris, and Chris Klein. And Chris Klein right here, he's plays Oz in American Pie. And I've never really been the biggest Chris Klein fan, but him in this movie is so good. He plays the bad guy, and he eats it up. He is so funny in this. And Ryan Reynolds, especially like when they do the flashbacks when he's like young in high school and like fat, he kind of puts a fat suit on, is so funny. Anna Faris, always amazing. She plays a goofy pop star who's out of touch with reality, kind of like a Britney Spears or somebody, like Britney Spears of today's age. Do you guys remember when they used to put like the dates on movies on the back of the case, and they just kind of stopped doing that? I hate that, because I'm always like, what movie is it? What year is it made? I'll be honest, I have not seen this one in a while. This is High Crimes with Ashley Judd and Morgan Freeman. This is from 2002. I think this is after Kiss the Girls. And Kiss the Girls is a much better movie, a far better movie. And this is like Ashley Judd and that whole like Kiss the Girls, Double Jeopardy, her and like an older guy, like she had Tommy Lee Jones, she's, Morgan Freeman. This is a courtroom movie, and I don't remember it. I don't remember that much about it. I think Jim Caviezel is in this movie. Amanda Peet from The Whole Nine Yards is in this movie. If you're into Ashley Judd and you're into courtroom drama movies, I would say check it out. I need to revisit this. It's been a minute. Layer Cake. If you are a fan of Daniel Craig, you will love this movie. This is the movie that got him James Bond. This is the movie that got him Casino Royale. It's directed by Matthew Vaughn, who's known for Kick-Ass, Kingsman franchise. He's got a new movie, Argyle, coming out soon. He directed this. This is his directorial debut. British gangster kind of movie. I think originally it was supposed to be directed by Guy Ritchie, because Matthew Vaughn used to be a producer for Guy Ritchie. He produced Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. He produced Snatch. And he originally, I think, gave this to Guy for his next project. And Guy suggested maybe he direct it. And I thank Guy for that, because Matthew Vaughn is an incredible director. And this movie, I think, is still one of his best. This is one of his more serious. He kind of got a little like, not goofy, but definitely more mainstream with this filmmaking, more commercial. He did X-Men First Class, and this is way more dark and gritty. And the implement of music in this movie is absolutely incredible. This came out in 2000. When did this come out? 2004. Speaking of, I'm gonna go right into this. Snatch, produced by Matthew Vaughn, directed by Guy Ritchie. This is from 2000. Arguably, Guy Ritchie's best movie. With anybody you talk to about Guy Ritchie, who knows Guy Ritchie, knows this movie. Brad Pitt, Jason Statham, Vinnie Jones. This was a movie Brad Pitt saw Lock, Stock, contacted Guy Ritchie, was like, I want to be in your next movie. And Guy Ritchie was like, I have to have you in my next movie. I don't have a role for you. I'm going to make one up. So he made up Mickey, who's arguably one of the best people in the movie. His storyline is really good. I'm really surprised Guy Ritchie doesn't have so many of his old movies streaming anywhere, because Lock Stock is not streaming anywhere either. I got that on a list for the 90s movies I'm doing. And I don't know. I think if you're going, when you're that level, maybe it's just me, but I'm like, these movies should just be on streaming for free. But I mean, I own them on physical, so I can watch them whenever I want. But that's beside the point. Like, I don't know. I think I think more people would probably find this movie if it was available on streaming. But just buy it physical media and you'll own it forever. This movie is from 2002. Panic Room by David Fincher, starring Jodie Foster, young Kristen Stewart, Jared Leto with cornrows, what's his name? Forrest Whitaker is in this movie, and Dwight Yoakam is kind of a ruthless bad guy in this. Really stylistic movie. Like, I would highly suggest just buying this movie on physical media if you can, because the special features of how they made this is absolutely insane. Like, this is one of the best home invasion movies. If you're into the home invasion genre, this is top of the list. You know, this is big Hollywood filmmaking, big stars in that genre, and there's a budget here for it. Where most home invasion movies are more small, independent, you know, simple one locations. They take that to a whole other level in Panic Room. This next one, I kind of understand why it's not on streaming. Scoop. This is directed by Woody Allen. Me personally, I can separate the art from the artist, and I'm not going to deny that Woody Allen makes some really good movies. He makes about a movie a year, so his catalog is insane. And I'm not the fan of everything, but he's got a few that are really good, and this is one of them, Scoop. Scarlett Johansson, Hugh Jackman, Ian McShane from the John Wick franchises. It's a fun little, like, murder mystery, you know, news reporter trying to find out what happened to somebody, trying to find the murderer, movie, and it's really charming. It's really interesting, and if you can separate, if you don't know about Woody Allen, then cool. But if you can separate the art from the artist, I highly recommend checking this out. These next few, I know probably nobody's ever heard of, unless you grew up in the late 90s or early 2000s like me. Supercross, Sophia Bush. I don't know anybody else's name. It's got the bad guy from Terminator 2, the cop. He's got a very small role in this too, but who is it? This guy is from Grind, the skateboard movie, and this guy is from Shameless. He plays the bartender in Shameless. So there's people in here you have seen, but at this time period, I had the hugest crush on Sophia Bush. She was in One Tree Hill. What horror? She was John Tucker Must Die and Stay Alive, that video game horror movie. So I was all on the Sophia Bush train at that time, and this is a really good, like, sports action, not action movie, but sports, not kind of underdog story with motorcycles. It's one of the only motorcycle movies I really know. It's about two brothers who race motocross, and you know, one is, you know, getting the huge sponsors and the tournaments, and one is more about the purity of it, kind of like Warrior, you know, the Tom Hardy UFC movie, kind of like that, but way less serious. Channing Tatum is even in this movie. If you get a chance, I would say check it out. It's only available on DVD, and you can buy it digitally. I think they had a Blu-ray release, but it's out of print right now. So I'm trying to find it, but it's really hard. This next one, I remember exactly where I was when I found it. It's one of the few movies I remember specifically finding at a Blockbuster. Thank You for Smoking. This is a really good comedy about the tobacco industry. Aaron Eckhart plays a lobbyist for the tobacco industry, and it's just really funny. I think this was a straight to DVD movie. I'm not really sure. I don't think this came to theaters. It's from Fox, and it's got an all-star cast: William H. Macy, Robert Duvall, Adam Brody, who was big from the OC at the time, Maria Bella, Rob Lowe is in this. It's even got, I don't know if I said Rob Lowe twice. It's even got I don't know his name, but the bald guy from Anchorman is also in this right here. If you get a chance, I would suggest checking this out. This is another one I've never seen on streaming anywhere in at any time period, and I would highly recommend Thank You for Smoking. Last two. I'm going to put these last two together because they are a part of a franchise. I get a trilogy. Trilogy, not a franchise. Lost Boys 2 and 3. The Tribe and the Thirst. Now, I know, these are straight to DVD movies, and most people probably didn't even give them a chance because a lot of straight to DVD sequels, especially at that time period, are not good. I would argue these are really good, especially the second one, The Tribe. This one is a really good movie. I think the only problem with it is it's called Lost Boys. It's one of these movies where if it was called anything else and people would just be like, oh, it's like Lost Boys, I think it would have got a much bigger acceptance from people. But I don't think a lot of people even check this out. It's even got Kiefer Sutherland's little brother playing kind of the role he did. It's basically kind of like a remake. Two kids move to this new town, vampires are there. It's basically the same movie as the first one, but way more updated. This one's from 2008, and the third one is from 2010. So the second one had to have done pretty good if they rushed third one out so fast. This one is a lot less good. Both of these have Corey Feldman in it, one of the Frog Brothers, but this one he's way more up front and center. It follows him. Give him a chance if you can, especially if you love the first Lost Boys. They're definitely sequels of each other. They have even the same theme song that plays in them. Not available in anywhere on streaming. I know Lost Boys just came out on 4K recently, and I know that you can get these on Blu-ray too, and that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting to get the Blu-ray triple pack. I don't know if I need Lost Boys on 4K. So those are 20 movies of mine from my collection from the 2000s that are not available on streaming anywhere, from 2000 to 2010. There are so many movies out there that you can't just watch for free, and I feel like if that's your only way to find new movies, it's a great way to find new movies, but I feel like you're also missing out on so many movies. Maybe it's just me because I grew up in this time period and I remember when these movies came out and they still hold a place in my heart that I just want to talk about them. But if any of these spark your interest or you remember any of these, definitely give them a chance, rent them, give them a rewatch. But since this is a physical media channel, I'm always going to advocate for going and finding them DVD, Blu-ray. I think only one or two of these are in 4K. But yeah, hope you like this video.